So it's 5 in the morning in Orlando, and yeah, so I'm driving, and basically I just wanted to go on here to talk about some things that I really need to get off my chest. So one, this is the month of May. May has been completely and utterly busy for me, like on a scale that I did not even prepare for or imagined. But I'm really trying my best, and I do enjoy the process of learning how to do business and learning how to be in school at the same time. And I think that a lot of people have done something like this, and specifically I wanted to talk about how much I do value the state of Florida. And so take this video as like my declaration of loving and trying to stick with Florida for a bit, because so the thing is, I was a part of a lot of different things in the year of 2022, which was around 4 years ago. I was definitely working my whole body off. Like, I would say I was working my butt off, but it was like my whole life off for the state of Florida. And what do I mean by that? So, okay, let me put this down. I have this like air freshener thing. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is that I basically was really like all ready to leave the state of Florida to possibly study and pursue past a undergraduate degree, so a postgraduate degree. I was prepared for that in the year 2022. So basically it wasn't solidified, but I had someone I knew in New Jersey, and we were going to room together. And I really wanted to talk about this in specifics because I get a lot of misconceptual like philosophies on what happened in 2022 up until now. And I just feel like it's really important because, for example, for this YouTube channel, I had a bunch of different things that I had recorded and that I showed y'all. So basically one of the things was I don't know why this dude is tailing me. Like, is something wrong? Okay, so one of the things was that what was I saying? So one of the things that I did was I was applying to a lot of different law schools. And even before that, so one of the first videos that I had posted on this channel was moving into a student apartment. So when I say student, I mean not a lot of apartments near the biggest university in Florida, I believe, student body wise. Like, I was going to that school, and so I was staying nearby, and my parents and I had thought that there was some kind of partnership where I would get like discounted fees for living at this apartment complex, but I did not. I in fact did not. And then I moved to another complex down the street because of the fact that the amenities were a lot better and stuff, and I didn't really think things through before that because I actually moved during quarantine time. And well, basically, like, it wasn't like strict restrictions yet, and like I was vaccinated and stuff, so don't worry about like the safety of it all. But basically, so I was working and then studying for the LSAT and then moving all at the same time. And so my life was a bit hectic, was a bit hectic towards that time, but I learned how to navigate it through just seeing my friends more often, or at least talking to them over the phone, because I had a long distance best friend, and I had some friends who were very, very strict on their quarantine every single day, so I mostly phoned my friends. And basically, like, long story short, I was just in my head about how, like, I felt like the state of Florida and just, like, you know, where I grew up, like, just didn't have anything to offer me. And so I just always felt really alone, and I really wanted that sense of belonging that I just could not feel like I had. And this was around the time when I started to hang out with a bunch of people my ex-boyfriend and I knew, and like then I met my ex-boyfriend, and then we became an item. And basically, like, I guess, like, the year after was when I enlisted in the Army, and that was when I left civilian life to go. And if you don't know what civilian is, it just means, like, layman people who aren't service members in the military. And so basically, I felt as though, like I said, my sense of belonging was just not there. And so then I enrolled in the military, enlisted in the military. And if people were wondering, like, how it was, well, in 2024, I was still keeping in contact with a lot of people who were deployed, and I didn't have the respect that a lot of, like, people that I was in it with had for me. Like, they didn't give me that respect and whatever, because of the fact that, like, I was always just so reluctant to follow through, because I felt like I didn't show up to the right base, because I wanted to be in another base, but there were a lot of complications with my home life, and I really don't regret doing minimal service in the military. But I will say that for the future, I want to just continue to educate people on the fact that, like, if you or a family member or your loved one wants to join the military, I would say, like, really, really do the research, because a lot of people will be like, well, you know, do the research, do this, do that. But, like, I'm genuinely saying, like, on a heart-to-heart level, like, you really need to do the research, because a lot of recruiters will want to recruit you no matter what. They will bypass a lot of different things, whereas, like, you can be worried about stuff, but they'll be like, oh, it's fine, but next thing you know, you're young and you don't know what you're doing, and it's basically like you're getting drafted. And so, you know, I just want y'all to be careful, because I have nothing against people who want to defend their country, but I'm just saying, you know, like, you just need to be careful. And so, like, basically, when in 2022, I switched my major as well. So I went from, it was environmental studies is what I started with at UCF, and then I transferred over to political science. And you would think it was an easy transition, but it really wasn't, because I was already taking so many science classes. And so by that point, I should have been deep into environmental studies, but then I switched over to political science, which my parents were not too happy about, by the way. But then they learned to realize, like, I did learn so much that I probably wouldn't have learned the best way if I did not actually transfer degree programs. But basically what I'm saying is that, like, sometimes you just don't really know, like, what someone is going through, because, like, I felt like I was so stressed out, like, all the time. I was also getting tutoring done for the LSAT. I was barely having a social life. Then in 2023, you know, obviously I leave for the military, and then I come back, and then I start being full forced diving right into mediation. So I've been learning family mediation particularly. So that has been my specialty. So I chose family mediation because of the fact that I felt like, excuse me, I have like some allergies, but I felt like I was genuinely interested in family dynamics, and I've always been interested in that because at the age of 14, I had the biggest dream to move to New York, and everyone in my family knows this. Like, I am obsessed with New York City. I'm obsessed with New York. I know a lot of New Yorkers, trust me, like, who live in Florida, and they're like, New York ain't what it's cracked up to be. But honestly, like, I don't care. I love New York. I've always loved New York. And I mean, there were times I'll be like, like, I actually like Florida better, but I promise you, like, I would choose New York over Florida in a heartbeat. But I feel like that really makes me look bad right now because I still love Florida. So basically what I'm saying is that, so I really, really wanted to live in New York, but, you know, I feel like a lot of things were keeping me in Florida. But at the age of 14, I was like, I want to move to New York. I want to go to Columbia University. I want to be a doctorate student. Like, I planned all this out when I was 14. And I even was like, oh, what? Oh, okay. I see people are tailing me. Okay. So basically I was like, oh, what can I do to better my situation as a teenager? And I always just knew, like, my family just meant so much to me. Like, my parents have been super involved in my life from before I was born. Like, they really do want the best for me, and I realized that at a young age, you know. And not only my parents, but I grew up with my nanny being my legal guardian, and so a lot of different Vietnamese and family dynamics I did grow up with. And so those types of things, you know, I feel like have been ingrained in me, and I never like let it go. And I felt, you know, like as of recently, like family mediation was like just like the closest thing to what I feel like I know about, you know. Like, I don't know, it's just the fact that, you know, it's what I like, it's what I feel like I know a lot about, and stuff. And so I get a lot of questions asked about, like, number one, like, why do I talk about Florida and whatever so much? And then two, what are my plans for law school? Okay, so first question, because I do want to, like, finish this video off very, very soon. But the first question I want to say, oh my goodness. Okay, that truck literally just ran a red light. But so basically, so I really just, what is it? I just feel that, so I built a community, I guess a level of trust with a lot of the attorneys and mediators in the state of Florida. So how I did that was I did, like, basically like an internship, and I did an internship at this law firm that was catered to low-income communities, and basically I just worked my way up from there. And I basically also observed a lot of mediations, and so I have a lot of hours logged in for when I do finally become a mediator. And the thing is, I would like to also say that each state is different. So if you're licensed to be a mediator in the state of Florida, it doesn't guarantee that you're licensed in another state. And so I was working towards my license. I'm not sure how it's going to play out for me in the state of Florida, because the thing is, I do have plans to move to New York. But I feel like I'm just trying to observe how it's going to happen, because the thing is, every year laws change, and outside of that, because this is the best way I can put it, mediator requirements change. And so like I could very much say I could be a mediator this year, but then there would be requirements that change. And so I just want to say, like, if I become a mediator in the state of Florida, I think that would be great. However, I do have certifications in a lot of the expertise needed to be licensed, and I also am pursuing my graduate degree in conflict resolution and analysis, which is another form of saying mediation. And so I just have a lot going on. And to answer the second question, I do want to enroll in law school by 2029, because the thing is, I don't feel like I'm in the place in my life to take on such a big like commitment. Because the thing is, like, I have friends who are in law school or who have already graduated, who are working attorneys, and the thing is, like, if you're not fully dedicated to it, you don't understand, it's going to take up like 90% of your time. And if there's one thing about me, it's that, like, I do like to take risks, like, here and there when it comes to like doing things that could potentially lead to a positive outcome. However, when it comes to something that requires like money and time and commitment, like, those are the types of things that I don't just easily get myself into. And so yeah, so I hope that answers a lot of different questions. I definitely have lived a great life even before 2022, but I just like to talk about 2022 because from 2020 until 2022, I feel like we were all just so busy with quarantine and COVID-19. And then before that, I feel like I was just like way too young to really like grasp everything that I wanted to do, just because like I really struggled with figuring out what college I wanted to go to. And before that, I struggled with just like, I don't know, like, I just didn't know what I was doing in high school per se. Like, I did well in school, I just didn't know where it was leading me to. And so that leads me into just wanting to be the best example that I can be for other people, so that they can learn from what I did and apply principles that I've gone through to their life. So yeah.